Amazing. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I like your jacket.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I just added this for this interview. So
Oh, that's so cool. I love it. Yeah,
thanks. Yeah, thanks for letting me do this.
of course. How do I make it so that I can? Okay, perfect. I was just fixing the view of everything. Okay.
Okay. So I could just jump around then before getting to Genshin.
Yeah.
So just starting from the beginning, was acting always something that you wanted to pursue?
Um, hmm. I guess kind of. I had like a lot. Okay, so I was always like the performer kid in the household.
Yeah.
Um, so I did like choir and I did orchestra and band at one point, and then in middle school I started doing musical theater, and I was like, wow, this was like my introduction to acting. Um, and I thought that was super cool and like super fun, but I felt like because my parents are very like like typical like immigrant family, they were like, no, you got to do something stable with your career. You have to like be a doctor or a lawyer or engineer, like that's what they always say. Um, so I didn't think performing could be something that I could do with my life. But then I think one day in like high school, like when I was thinking, okay, I have to apply to colleges, I have to figure out what I want to do in life. Um, I realized like I read like an interview of some actors and they were like, oh yeah, we went to like USC for acting and that's kind of what we did before we got into voiceover. And I was like, wait, I could do that. Like I could apply just to see what happens. And so I applied, got into USC, and then my parents didn't let me major in acting. I changed my major like four different times, but I always minored in theater and made sure I took all my acting classes so I could get a strong foundation in acting before I went into voiceover. And then we kind of made it, or we're making it. Yeah. So to answer your question, I always liked theater and performance and acting, but I didn't really commit to it until later on in life. Like even in college, I got distracted by like, oh, what if I go into the music industry? What if I go into game development? You know, like there was always something else that I was looking at with acting on the side. And it took my senior year of college too for me to lock in and be like, no, if I want to do something, I have to like focus all my attention on it. Do my best to at least. So yeah.
Was there something that happened that made you get more of a affinity for voiceover too?
Well, I guess I always played games growing up. Like my older cousins, they I remember the year, like it was like 2007. I was like a little kid in elementary school and like uh they came to visit for the first time from Amman because they're from Jordan. And that was the first time that I met them. And they were older. They were like 7 years older than me. So I kind of looked up to them and they were all like playing video games. And they introduced me to Pokemon. And then from Pokemon it was Kingdom Hearts. And from Kingdom Hearts it was Final Fantasy. And you know how it goes. Like that was my introduction to video games, and I kind of played them after that for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Is
Um,
there a special story of how you got into SAG too?
uh, so I can't the first professional thing that I booked hasn't actually come out yet.
Okay.
So I don't know if I can talk about it, but maybe in a couple years I'll be like, "Hey, Chris, this was the thing." You know? I don't know
Okay.
whenever it comes out, but yeah, it was I got into SAG or I guess I was SAG eligible my last semester of college. 'Cause I had that was when I started going through an agency, auditioning through an agency. And the first thing I ever booked was like, well, I can't talk about it, but uh, it was kind of the thing that I did book was kind of full circle for me because it had some callbacks like in the lore of it. to I should just not talk about it. I'm trying to be careful. But yeah, so that was kind of the first thing I ever booked was the thing that got me SAG eligible. So that was really cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Was Smite like around that same time?
No, okay, so most of the first things that I booked haven't, like, I know I said the first thing I didn't book hasn't, or the first thing I did book hasn't come out, but honestly, the first couple things I did book have not come out yet. The more recent stuff that I've booked has come out, which is just, it shows you the nature of the industry, but no, Hecate was, I think I booked her around early last year, early 2024. Um, so, and then I started auditioning, I would say fall 2023, because I graduated December 20, wait, no, that's wrong. I'm getting my timeline mixed up. I graduated December 2022. And so I started working on some of the projects that I can't talk about. And then things started picking up 2023 for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you mostly getting hired for your like close to your natural voice for roles too?
Yeah, I would say like a lot of the stuff that I've been booking, for Western stuff, it's like usually accent work or like the warrior lady or like the mean Russian lady, you know? I've played a couple mean Russian ladies. Or like Middle Eastern roles too. Because they need the accent for that. But it's fun. I took a class because I again was foreseeing that I was going to go into this field in college on accents, and working with the IPA was really cool. I kind of forgot a lot of it, the like technical way to approach an accent, but I think I did enough practice where my ear picks it up pretty easily. Um, but yeah, I forgot what the question was. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I ramble a lot.
It's fine.
Oh yeah, do I book a lot of my natural voice? Yes. Yeah, either natural voice or lower. I've gotten close in terms of like callbacks for like higher pitch stuff, but not there yet. Yeah.
What do you think is if you could pick a single one with the case that you had to alter your voice the most for anything?
Um, Let me think. I mean, I guess like Mermaid Barbie and like the Barbie doll adventures, I think is the most like higher pitch, just bubbly, which is not usually what I play. Um, but yeah, I think that would be the one. Mhm.
Have you gotten to do a boy voices at all yet too?
Um, I think for like a looping thing that hasn't come out yet. I've been yeah, because I've been told that I have a good like little boy voice, but again, I'm still really just booking within the typecast.
Yeah.
So, maybe one day. I'd love to, but yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I just think that's always interesting to ask like voice
Mhm.
actresses that like how their process is to do little kids' voices.
Mhm. I think I feel like a lot of people probably would also have a similar like sentiment, but I think like Ash Ketchum was kind of like the standard for like the little boy voice print, and then you just kind of do your version of that. But then like, depending on their personality, then you like soften it up or you add more rasp or whatever. But that's kind of that's my process when it comes to like the little kid voices. Yeah.
Mhm. And in terms of like more anime kind of projects, was Epic 7 the first thing that you did with that?
Yeah, I think Epic 7 was the first like JRPG type of game that I did. Um, it's crazy because a lot of my friends started doing anime and JRPGs and then booked the Western stuff. With me, it was like I booked all the Western stuff and now I'm slowly getting into JRPGs. And for the longest time, I was like, guys, why can't I book any? Like, I don't think, I don't know, but I'm knock on wood, like I'm doing good now. But it's funny how turntables.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Has there
Yeah.
also been any major case so far where you've had to get like a dark headspace for voiceover?
Yeah. Yes. The one that's come out that I can talk about is, I would say, Genshin. Like, uh, Mavuika's whole thing is that, like, spoilers, guys, for anyone who's watching, but like the whole Archon quest is about, war, and she's just doing her best to protect her people. And again, my family is like, they're immigrants. My parents grew up in war. My grandparents have seen war up close. And so I've heard their stories growing up, and I heard them pretty young actually, so they kind of stuck with me. But I just I thought a lot about I kept their stories kind of in my head, close to my heart when I was recording for her. And yeah, like I think there was a couple sessions where I would like get a little emotional and have to like stop for a second and then be like, okay, I'm locked in again, let's go, you know? But yeah, that's, I guess, what I would that would probably be the one that I can talk about that has like a dark headspace. Yeah. Hmm.
Was Genshin like a pretty general audition when it came through?
A general audition?
Yeah, was it like pretty basic for you?
Yeah, I had an inkling of what it was. Like I kind of was like, I'm pretty sure this is Genshin, but because again, everything is code named and there's no art, so we're never 100%. But I think I had auditioned more than that round of auditions. So at that point, I wasn't super invested. Like earlier on, I was like, okay, I'm gonna record this audition and work on it for like an hour or 2 hours and edit it, whatever. At that point, I was like, okay, guys, honestly, what are the odds that I'm gonna book this? It's just send and forget, as they say. So I had gotten to a headspace where I was like, I'm just gonna send it, forget about it. If it happens, great. And so I sent it off, didn't think anything of it. And then a couple weeks later, I got an email saying, hey, we want you to do a callback for this character. Because I had auditioned for like everyone, I think in Natlan. But then they're like, okay, we want you to do a callback for who is now known as Mavuika. But it was codenamed at the time. And I was like, oh, well, now I gotta lock in. And so I think uh, I had a weekend to record what my audition was going to be, my callback was going to be, and then send it off. And that's when I started panicking, and I was like, oh, I need to do my research. I need to figure out like what I could figure, like what the lore is, because I didn't really play the game beforehand.
Oh,
Um, and so I was like cramming 5 years worth of content into one audition. Um, or like one like I was cramming 5 years of content studying it for
yeah.
this one audition and sent it off. And then I was at the dentist when I found out that I booked her, and I was like, oh, cool. Okay, I have to sit here now and I can't really celebrate and jump up and down, but this is cool. And then yeah, that's my story. Yeah.
I'm sure based off what you already said that it's very easy for you to relate to her then.
Yeah. Yeah, she was like the audition that like because I think at that point in the year I started kind of going through the motions of auditions but not really connecting with the characters. And I think she was the first character in a while that I had like been like, "Oh, I see her like past the archetype," because every character is an archetype, right? Like that's just how they are. Then I saw her past that, and I saw like her as the individual character,
Mm.
um, and how she, is part of the archetype, but how she also goes against it. And yeah, I really was like, she's a really cool character, and I love that. Like, again, spoilers, but like she does have her happy ending. Not every character did in that Archon quest, but I'm glad that there was some good at the end of it for her because she's been through a lot, and I think she's a good like she represents kind of like the immigrant's journey.
Yeah.
Because like my parents and my grandparents have sacrificed so much. And again, it's always for like the next generation, right? Like we want to make sure the future uh generation like has a good life, you know? So I'm glad that she got to have a good life too, you know, at the end of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest differences between you and her are then?
I think I'm more lazy than her. I um okay, I think our core values are the same, but she's such a workaholic. And I know I get into my moments too. Like some people say that I'm a type A person. I don't really think so. I just think I like get really hyper fixated on things sometimes, but for the most part, I'm more laid back. I'm more just like I want to sleep in. I want to do nothing all day, where she's like, no, let's grind. Um, like I would say I'm more of a Shalonen than a Mavuika in terms of my outer personality, but our core values, I'm more of a Mavuika, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
What did you think of when you saw her design for the first time?
I was like not really expecting it. I don't know what I was expecting. I think I was probably expecting more of the animated short, like more Wonder Woman-esque
Oh,
fit.
right. Yeah.
Um, but then I mean, when I saw the kid, I was like, okay, it makes sense for the kid, right? And so I was like, all right, if this is the vibe they're going for, yeah, let's do it, you know? I was like, all right, cool. She's a cool biker lady. I'm not gonna complain. But I guess it also makes sense because aren't isn't like Natlan super into like the extreme sports and stuff like that too? So I guess it makes sense because it's like her like hobby outfit, I guess. I don't know.
Yep.
That's cool. I love her hair. Her hair is gorgeous, and I love the all the little designs, like her little earrings and like the sun, the Aztec sun on her suit, I think. Yeah,
Yep.
it's really
Do you
cool.
think you'd ever cosplay her in the future?
Maybe. That outfit is a little risque, so maybe if I'm feeling good after hitting the gym again, we'll consider it, but I don't know, maybe. That's all I'll say, maybe. I think it'll be fun, but I feel like I'd probably have to work towards that cosplay, you know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Is there a default line that you have to get into her headspace?
Hmm. Um, default line, I don't know. I think at the beginning of every session, they play back like lines that we've recorded already. So usually they'll do playback, we'll listen, repeat, and then that'll kind of get me into her like vocal uh placement. Hmm, I don't think I have a particular line that I say to get into her headspace though, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm sure you have multiple favorite lines though.
Oh
Is
yeah,
there?
I do have favorite lines. Well, people love the people like us let our blades do the talking. I like that one. That's pretty cool. I like how that turned out. I like it's short and simple, but I like for Natlan that summarizes the whole Archon quest. Um, and I like I can talk about it now because it's out. Our cultural legacy is not rooted in our suffering. I think she says that in her letter to Hine at the very end of the Archon quest. And I think it's not as like flashy or as exciting. It's in the middle of a giant monologue, but I think that would be my favorite line of hers because again, it kind of encompasses what she's all about, you know? Because I think a lot of the archons, from what I understand, are very passionate about what they're the god of, right?
Yeah.
Then you have Mavuika, who, no, she hates, I would say she hates war. I would say she doesn't want war. She wants peace, right? So I think that's really interesting. And again, that whole cultural legacy, what is this nation? You know, it's been plagued by war. So what is going to be left of that cultural legacy? And it makes me think, you know, like I just, yeah. Because again, I think when a lot of in real life, sorry, I'm rambling, but like in real life,
It's
when a
okay.
country has gone through so much, right? Like sometimes you only do think of the bad, and then it it takes a second. You have to remind yourself, like, but we have so much other beautiful things that are a part of our culture besides just our suffering. Yeah, it's important to remember that and remember, you know, past generations and all that we've lost, but there's more to a culture than just that sadness, right? So I think it's a really beautiful quote. Hmm.
Yeah, it is
Sorry, I'm getting
interesting.
super sappy in this interview.
Oh, it's okay. No, it is. Yeah, it is pretty interesting how even outside of the game, but with the animated shorts too, like just how many
Mm.
emotional moments there are with her already.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a wild ride. Yeah, it's interesting. With her, it was always like, I don't know what the session's gonna have for me today. Am I gonna laugh or am I gonna cry, you know? It's always a coin toss with Mavuika. Yeah.
What do you think about her relationships with the other characters in Natlan?
Um, I mean, Capitana was like such a good foil to her. I really love their dynamic together, and I think it's really interesting. One that I didn't really pay attention to until recently was her and Shallonen. They're funny just because it's poor Shallonen just wants a break, and Malika's just like, I have this idea and this idea and this idea. And yeah, I think it's just it's funny. They're a good comedic duo, and it's really cute to see like all the fan art and stuff like that. Um I think what was interesting was I know Kachina kind of, you know, had her main thing in 5.0. Uh and I think it's interesting that like one of Mauika's lines, like when you have her in the game and you play it about Kachina, she still regrets not being able to protect Kachina more.
Yeah,
Um, so I think that's really cool and that's really sweet that they bring it up even like because yeah, Mauika was released 5.3, Kachina's thing happened in 5.0, so I think it's really sweet that she still um thinks about that and it adds to her character, I think. Hmm.
it's cool too that at least from like a immortality standpoint, how much her and Satali are like.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because Seat Lally has also like gone like has lost people, right? I
Yeah,
think her animated trailer or teaser or something showed that with like the
yep.
graffiti. Yeah. 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 I also like I forget what the line entailed, but the line about Seat Lally was also pretty fun that like she was like, yeah, Seat Lally has like the outer shell that like might be kind of prickly, but she's a good person or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I like that line too.
Does anything stand out from uh memory of recording the dragon fight with the Traveler that just came out?
Oh, hmm. It's just cool because I saw bits of it and I was like, oh, that's how that ended up turning out. Cool. Because we didn't really get a lot of like context for that. It was just
Oh,
like lines that would happen in the final fight. Go. And I was like, okay. Um, so seeing it all turn out was really cool. And I liked that there was again that parallel of her walking like in that like in the sky on the like glass staircase or floating staircase. Was it during that fight? I don't know if you've played it or not.
yeah.
Yeah. So I like that they had that in 5.0, 5.1, and 5.3. Like they kept up the pattern. Um, and she has that little monologue, where I think she quotes the inheritors of something something. Yeah, that whole thing was really cool too. I liked seeing how it turned out. Mhm.
Are there other characters from other regions that you'd like to see her interact with?
Hmm. I know a lot of people want to see her and Raiden Shogun talk together.
Yeah.
Uh, which I'm all for. Like, yeah, let the girlies have their girly time. Yeah, let them talk. Let them like bond, I guess, over like sparring. Um, hmm. I personally really like Zhongli, so I think that would be pretty cool. Um, I know Neuvillette had a line about her. Um, and I'm like, okay, that could be cool. I mean, I also just really like the character. But it is interesting because I think Neuvillette has the perspective of like a sovereign, like a dragon sovereign,
Right.
right? And then with Xbalanque's relationship with the Pyro sovereign, like it'll be interesting to see what he thinks about all that.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I guess that would be what I have to say on that.
Well, that was one thing that we hadn't touched on yet was the relationship with Jabalanque and Mavuika.
It was so cool. I loved the story quest, and when I don't know, I was not sure like what the vibe was gonna be at first, but
Yeah.
seeing it all together because he's like his I didn't really get to hear a lot of what his jokes were. I just was told he makes a lot of jokes, and I was like, okay, cool. Um, but seeing his like little like silly lines, I was like, "Aw, this turned out really cool." I think Xbalanque is a really cool character, and I loved their fight. Uh, it was really sweet where he was like, "Oh, like if you want, you could bring someone back," and she was like, "You know what? Let's keep that in the past." And I was like, "Oh, that's so bittersweet." Um, but yeah, I think she made the right decision, and her logic made sense too, you know. But that was a really cool story quest. I really liked it. Mhm.
Yeah. Have you started playing it at all since you've been cast?
Yeah, after I booked her, I started playing and I like did a speed run and I like got through Fontaine and then I took a break when I like right before Natlan because I was like I want to get Mavuika and then like play it from beginning to end. But I'm also like I don't know because I also down the line want to start streaming, so I might hold off and like stream it later once I set up everything. Um, yeah, one of my 2025 goals is to be in my streaming era, so we'll see. Um, um, but yeah, that I have played it. I have pulled Mavuika. I pulled her in like 3 pulls, like not even 3 10 pulls, 3 solo pulls. But then it took like so long to get her weapon, so I don't have the best luck in the world. It was pretty good though. Um, but I'm currently trying to like level her up and then also get her artifact set. Uh, so that's kind of what my current thing is, where I'm at in Genshin. But yeah, I do plan on playing through Natlan though, for sure.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And I know that you've had a lot of like a ton of sweet interaction with the fandom for the game and everything.
Yeah, everyone's so nice. Which I'm glad. I'm glad because I was a little stressed out that people wouldn't like her. But yeah, I've gotten a lot of really sweet messages. The fan art is really beautiful and just like if I can like through this character, if I can leave a positive impression on the fans, I think that like is I did my job, right? Because I think again, like some roles I think are just a job. Some roles I think are like roles that like, oh, I've always wanted this, you know, like the dream roles. With Mavuika, like I didn't really play Genshin before, but she ended up being like a dream role for me, but through her narrative. But I think more than that, she's a role that like I want to do well in for everyone who has a story similar to mine, that is like a kid of immigrants or is an immigrant themselves or is going through something, really terrible. Like she improved the world of her game, and I hope people can connect with that and hopefully find light in like all the shit that they're going through. Sorry, I don't know if we're allowed to curse.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I was like trying to watch my language, but I didn't know how to verbalize it. Yeah.
What was it like doing the con that you did recently?
It was so cute. Yeah, San Diego Anime Con. So at one point, a group of Genshin cosplay, everyone was super sweet. I'll start by saying that. And everyone who came up to me was so, they were so excited to meet me, and I was so excited to just like hear their thoughts. Um, because they all loved the game. But at the end, one group of Genshin cosplayers came up, and there was like a young person dressed as Mualani, and they were like, "Hey, could I teach you the Mualani dance?" And so they taught me the Mualani dance, and they got like a little recording of it, and they posted it afterwards. And I was like, let me know when you do post it. I'd love to see how it turned out. And that was really cool because I think I'm like pretty young, but I'm not like a TikTok dance young. So getting to learn the TikTok dance that a fan taught me was like a really sweet memory. Yeah.
So there is one thing I do with every Genshin interview is
Mhm.
if you're willing to do it, I have the person do Zhang Li's wine line as their character.
I don't know what the wine line
I
is.
can I can put it in the chat.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Osmanthus wine tastes the same as I remember, but where are those who share the memories? Off the top of my head. It's been a while since I recorded as her, so hopefully
That
that
sounds
sounds similar enough.
yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to say to the fandom of her?
Oh, um, thank you for, I don't know, being on this journey with me, and I hope you liked it. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, my final question is always
Oh,
asking,
yeah.
what do you want your legacy to be?
Ooh, that's a big one. I think I just want to be like an example for other actors who um are from different backgrounds who don't see a lot of um themselves in the industry, right? Like I I when I was first learning about voice actors, I didn't know any Middle Eastern actors.
Yeah.
So I think I just want to be an example that no matter who you are, um, you can be a part of this world, and you can you can make it, and you can bring something that only you can bring. Um, yeah, just like a good positive example, I would say. Um, but yeah, that I think is what I want my legacy to be. Hmm. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that we got to do this.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. All
Yeah.
right.
Hope you have a good rest of your day
Yeah, you too. Happy New Year, by the way.
then.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.